All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm joined with Alpha. Alpha, one of my favorites. Thanks for joining me again, man. I love having conversations with you. Dude, celebrities are acting crazy. They're acting weird. They're picking their lane. They're sending strange messages. And by saying nothing at all, some of them are making huge statements like Joe Rogan, Taylor Swift, Robert De Niro. I know you're going to play a clip by Baldwin, which is absolutely the weirdest shit that I've seen in a while. So there's just so much weird stuff going on right now within the industry. Ever since P. Diddy, and now Justin Timberlake, the DUI, we got Travis Scott, and I'll be bringing on Jim Willie, who wants to talk about those things, who says he has an insider that have given him some information, crazy stuff that I'm gonna have to put that part on Nino's Corner.tv. But Alpha, lots to talk about today, man. Thank you for joining me, brother.
No, absolute honor, man. I always like coming on, being with you, being with the audience. Here's the thing, man. We're approaching a time where everybody can feel it. I mean, it is thick in the air. And it kind of reminds me back at, when we used to do these large scale investigations into some of these, international crime syndicates or these big gangs. Once they started to see players being picked off, they knew somebody's talking, someone's snitching. There's a mole. And when
Paranoia, paranoia,
paranoia, 100%
and
paranoia.
and folks, just so you know, Alpha, give them your background.
Yeah, did law enforcement about a decade and a half, worked my way up through the ranks to become a detective, ended up working on the gang task force, doing undercover operations, ran large scale operations, 400 cops, multiple agencies, worked with the FBI, unfortunately, ATF, investigated, international crime syndicates, considered expert witness in the courts on that and search warrants. So, an amazing career and a crazy career, but everything happens for a reason, and I apply those skill sets to what we see today, and it's wild, bro.
What are
It's
you doing talking to a guy that got punched in the head for a living?
and you know what? So I never did it to the skill level you did, but I did amateur boxing for the police and fire
Enough
league,
to respect it.
and I definitely enough to respect it. I'll tell you what, man. I grew up my whole entire life playing team sports.
Yeah.
And and not to take away from from a coach and a corner man and a cut man, they're very important, but when two fighters step into the ring, there ain't nobody else, man.
Nobody can save you. I always say you get in the ring with your team and then they all get out.
And man, or maybe you don't. I don't, you were a beast, man, but there were times where I knew nobody could match my spirit. So even if I knew I was in a ring with someone that maybe they had more skill, but they didn't have my fight.
Right.
But that said, in that first minute, someone lays a very fast combination on you. That thought, you're human, man. So that fight or flight kicks into where you're like, what the hell did I get
And you
myself in?
know what's crazy, just for the audience, when you're a seasoned fighter, that's when you relax. That's when you get in your calm. That's when you get in your calm place. That's when you get centered. And then you just take those shots. That's why you see these fighters make it look so easy. They're just ding dong dong ding 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 ding. They're just relaxed. They're in there just it's crazy. But all right, let's
It
get
is.
back to the subject here, folks. I'm gonna put the ghetto timer on 20. I got to do my ghetto timer. Everyone knows what I have to do when I do the ghetto timer. Let's play that Stephen Baldwin clip because it's just so weird, and I think our audience, I think they can help us figure this out.
All right, here we go. This one's wild.
So, hey, Hollywood, now that you know you've been infiltrated by the homeland folks, and you also know you've been infiltrated by the devil, my question to y'all is, are you ready to be infiltrated by the ghost?
All right, so
Oh, tell you, man.
I gotta say that's pretty creepy, but I think he's on to something, man, and I think he's really sending a strong message. To me, it's the ghost in the machine. And you said that would be what, the fourth psyop group?
Or Psyop group. So
Explain that.
he's got about, man, as of 2 days ago, I think this was like his 7 or 8 videos. This was one of the first ones that he did. And so he's actually came out and called them out by name, the fourth PSYOP group. So
Really?
here, yeah, I want to say this was like one of the first 3 videos he did, and a few videos later is when he actually, you know, identified the fourth PSYOP group. So we go back to the first video they did, the Ghost in the Machine, and they've since done Ghost in the Machine 2.0. But in that first one, it's showing us, you know, propaganda. It tells us in the video, we are everywhere. You know, the whole world is a stage. So, you know, I mean, here we are, the actors, like I was saying earlier, you're seeing paranoia to where, you know, is Steven a good guy asset? Is he a bad guy asset? Or is he just one of those that it's so crazy? Like he just went full on. Remember Armageddon, the dude that just loses his marbles and he just starts riding the nuke?
Yes.
Like,
Yes, dude.
You know, is he at that point? But
I think they're all getting to that point. I think this is such a crazy time that they're all just going wacky, and they're just almost, some of them are like Stephen Baldwin seems to me like he's embracing it, and he's like, let's go get the show started. That's what I see. That's where I'm at with this. I'm like, I like watching the people that are uncomfortable, the people that are like queasy and like, oh, like right now I'm going to show you. Let's take a look at Niro. He's a perfect example. Niro. I always go to Niro. He's like my go-to guy because that guy shows so much paranoia and so much anxiety and so much panic and so much fear. You know, each celebrity is dealing with their own panic, their own way. And this guy's like pleading to the world to stop Mr. T.
This extraordinary little person
Oh,
who
let's not forget Whoopi Goldberg right there with him.
has just come into your life?
Oh. My little my daughter, who's just pure joy, of course.
Yes.
Oh,
Look at this.
Is that really his daughter?
I don't know, man.
I mean, he looks adopted, but all right.
That's what I'm saying. Unless the daddy's got some strong genes, man. I don't know, bro.
Wait a minute. That threw me off, or I wasn't expecting that.
He's gorgeous.
Is it more tiring now than it was before? Raising a little one?
I have people help me.
Well, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but
What, you're not doing it yourself?
not all of it. No.
Not all.
All of it. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
She is cute as hell.
She is
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah, she's the only one who loves me, no condition, no nothing.
Of course.
No criticism.
That's right.
Of course.
Yeah.
I say dogs can be just as good, but that's my own bite.
Didn't even criticize your movies or anything.
Nothing. Well, some people have criticized you because you've been pretty open about your dislike for Mr. Trump and the danger he poses to democracy. You once famously
Now, you understand these studios are packed to the gills with not just liberals, but they have applaud signs on there.
Yep.
said you'd like to punch him in the face. But right now, he's leading in the polls in 5 battleground states. Any advice to the Biden campaign or the voters? What are you thinking?
Well, I think I don't understand why people are not taking him seriously, because you read about it historically in other countries that they didn't take the people seriously. I think Hitler, Mussolini, but they're fools and clowns. Well, there will be, and I hear it. There's some people. I mean, who does not think that this guy is going to do exactly what he says he's going to do?
Alpha, we're actually betting on that, aren't we?
We're hoping he does.
Yeah, and this guy is terrified that he is going to do what he says he's going to do. Because why? How many skeletons does he have in his closet is what I'm saying. And you and I both know, and I think you agree with me on this one, Alpha. I'm not sure. But do you, just a quick yes or no, do you see Mr. T coming in conventionally or not conventionally?
I don't think he's coming in conventionally.
Okay.
Right.
He's done it already.
Which will make him much more dangerous
Absolutely.
to these people. So they don't even know what's coming. These people really don't know what's coming.
And then what? We're going to sit around and say, what? We told you so? Or whoever, I told you so? It's going to happen. If he gets elected, it's going to change this country for everybody. And they might think that it's going to make their life better, or they just want to excuse my French, they just want to with the rest of the country. Literally. Those people who support him with anger and hate, because that's what he's about, they're going to see. I mean, I used to see these things. I didn't understand how he and Rosie O'Donnell used to get it. Didn't really care. Yeah. I see what a hateful, mean-spirited, awful thing he is.
He was vicious to her.
He's vicious. And why? These
people are terrified, and the only one that's being spiteful and angry is this man right here.
Yep.
It's this guy right here. Nobody else.
His audience literally just applauded him when he said he wanted to punch him in the face.
Yeah, he's the one saying derogatory, hateful things. He's saying he wants to hurt him. But yet, Mr. T's the bad guy? I mean, seriously, let's dissect this for a moment. This is lunacy. This is crazy what this man's doing.
100%.
He's already done it.
Yep.
Why?
Go ahead, Alpha.
Oh, and I was going to say, and the audience here supports it. So when he's saying that this part of the country that's behind Mr. T and all this, you have a panel of people that are in agreement with him being violent towards Mr. T and an audience that supports that, but yet they want to project it like they do everything else onto the rest of us. It's insanity.
Right. Yeah.
Why would he not do? When I say I want to punch him in the face, it's because what he said to a person, a bystander or somebody in one of his rallies, he wants to punch him in the face. You don't talk that way to people. What kind of person does that?
You do. You do. He was calling everyone gangsters in front of the courthouse. This guy took time out of his day to go to the courthouse and slam this guy. So this guy knows he is, pardon my French, he's in deep shit.
Yep.
He knows.
His goose is cooked, man. He knows that they have the books and he knows what the books say. And he's terrible.
And this is coming from a guy, task force. You know, dude, you got the instincts.
Yep.
Damn, dude.
Makes fun of the physically challenged. He makes fun of people who have physical challenges.
He's done that too.
He's done
everything.
the military. He says that people who go to war are losers. Wake up.
He's done everything. What more do you need? It's almost like he wants to do the worst that he could possibly.
This is evil trying to convince everybody else, that what this man is doing, they know that they're in for, dude. And I'm not going to say what, but the skeletons in their closet have got to be pretty severe, right, Alpha?
And well, they know the rank and file of the military loves Mr. T. Loves Mr. T. The generals and the officers there are the ones that oppose him. But why? Because if you go all the way, you got rid of over 100 of the generals that would have liked Mr. T. So they know they're lying. And when they say, "Oh, he says that they're losers," no, he was talking about John McCain. And there was a reason
right, exactly. Yeah, because he got caught and this and that. He knows what McCain was about.
Yep.
But look how they twist everything for their people, the people that do no research, the people that don't look outside of their little spectrum of ideology here. And it's just like they just take, and that's why celebrity worship is so dangerous. These people, their paradigm is crumbling. It's over for them. I call this the old world. He's old Hollywood. De Niro represents old Hollywood. It's the old world, the old paradigm, which is crumbling. People who are awake now do not look at these people for anything. But unfortunately, there still are the remnants of society that are looking into these people for their own, to formulate their opinions for them.
You know that it's affecting his look, because when you look at De Niro now, he doesn't have that tough machismo look he did from the characters in the movies. He looks scared. He looks scared.
To show this country to f with us. his slogan should be "F America." I want to f America.
And the other thing is, if he becomes president again, he's never listen. He's not going to not stop being president. You understand this? Yeah. His idea is to stay in until he drops dead.
Whoa, wait a minute. But did he stay in this the last time when he could have?
Exactly.
We all know what happened. He did not. So these people are very, very, in my opinion, and I have to say it like that because it's fluff too, but these are deranged. And they're trying to convince everyone else of their sick ideology, in my opinion. He's
been law-abiding in every aspect.
every
He-
aspect. They have.
They haven't. He did the transfer of power peacefully. They've
Yeah.
come after him with, nearly 100 indictments. He's shown up for his hearings. He went in to get booked. He went in to go get photographed. So they're trying to say that he's going to retain power, but yet everything that he's done has been the opposite. It's their,
Yeah,
once again, it's their projection, man.
But then there's also, there's a lot of there's celebrities that I mean that it's very obvious to me what we're looking at here. Like let's talk about, I don't know, Joe Rogan. All right, I'm going to bring up Joe Rogan. I'm going to bring up an article, and we know what this is about. At least my listeners, your listeners know exactly. And I don't think Joe Rogan is dumb. I think he's very smart. I've been to his studios. He knows what he wants to talk about and what he does not want to talk about, Alpha. I figured that out on my own just being there. Because he had 𝗀𝗏CE 𝗵𝗶𝗹 and BJ Penn in his studio, and they were talking about Hawaii. And I was like, well, how come? And then I went into his office afterwards and was hanging out with Rogan and everything. And he fired up a blunt, and I was like, hey, man, I got to ask you, dude. I mean, why aren't you just stating the obvious here? Like, why aren't you talking about what really happened in Hawaii, which is what we know? I can't say the word on Fluff too, but out of the sky, these certain type of things that have been causing fires. And he just looked at me like, dude, like, I'm out of here. Like, took one more hit of his blunt and he was out. He's all, I see you all at the show. He goes, oh, that's conspiracy. I'm like, but isn't your show that? Wait a minute, you're not going to talk about that conspiracy? Isn't your show that?
You're gonna have
BJ and I just looked at each other like, whoa, like we both saw a ghost. Like we could not believe he just rolled out like that. But here he is calling out Trump. He hasn't corrected course, which is he's saying that Joe Rogan suggested former President Donald Trump has a tough road ahead of him if he wants to be voted in as leader of the U.S. again. So he's basically going against Mr. T here. He's saying, and this is probably why he's never had him on his show. He won't have him on his show from what I can tell. Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee for November presidential elections, would have to correct course over his prior acceptance of the boogeyman, right? Again, in the shoulder.
Right.
While he was in office to win over the voters. But you and I know, and our audience knows how that played out, how that was a weapon, how all of that transpired, and he had to pick the lesser of evils to get us back to work again to end the shutdown of society. So we know people who are dialed in understand exactly what happened. And not a lot of people don't agree with it. Some people do, but I understand the brilliance behind it. And unfortunately, there's casualties of war, right?
Here's what I'll say to that, man. It's Joe Rogan. If there's one man who wants to have Mr. T in the hot seat to ask that very question, you can do it. Like if the first question in that show, and that can determine whether it's a 15-minute show or a 3-hour show. The first question could be, hey, Mr. T, what's up with this?
Yeah.
So if you don't want to bring them on that show, it's one of two things. You've been told not to, or you're not allowed to. That's it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what else? Rogan is so big that he could literally do the debates in his studio. That's how big this guy is. It doesn't need to be on CNN. I mean, the fact that Mr. T's going on CNN is unbelievable to me. I can't even believe it. That's how confident he is. But Rogan is so big, he could do this on his own platform and everybody would tune in. But he does. I have a feeling he knows he would have to be fair.
If Rogan had Mr. T on, man, it would double what Tucker Carlson did with Mr. T. Double it. Because people know that Joe would probably be more destined to ask the questions we want to know versus Tucker. Tucker's going to keep it real geopolitical. Joe Rogan, I mean, come on, he had Terrence Howard on. They're talking about stuff like gravity don't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't want to navigate these waters?
But Mr. T even went on Tim Pool, who is like a couple notches down from Rogan. So it looks like he's willing to go on these shows.
See, that's the thing right there, Nino. I think that was the most brilliant move Mr. T did, because he's eliminating the argument for Joe to be like, well, these were the conditions of coming on the show, when people are going to be like, well, no, he came out on Tim Pool. he did this one. Like, he's willing to do these other ones.
Long form podcast. He's doing the podcast. He's doing it. Gosh, I wish I could get him on. I know you do too, but it's like, I mean, I don't have the man. Mr. T, Trump, come on, man. You know,
I'll reach
folks.
out to,
let me just
my
knock
people
this out
for
real
you.
quick before the timer goes off. Folks, if you suffer from any type of daily pain, I need you to listen to this message very carefully. I don't know if you suffer from pain, Alpha. What we know about the root cause of pain is changing forever. As we age, aches and pains are natural, and we're all searching for effective ways to relieve pain without side effects and addiction. And I know a little bit about that. Let's be frank. We have all seen the horrors of the opiate crisis. You may even been affected personally. And that's where a pioneering medical scientist comes in, Clint Winters, folks. You may have seen his world-renowned health expert featured in the national media as he unveiled a natural pain reliever that is taking the world by storm. Yes, I'm talking about 𝗀𝗃𝗃 and the 100% drug-free way to get full-body pain relief without dangerous pills. As I read this, 𝗀𝗃𝗃 has become the go-to pain reliever for over 1 million Americans and hundreds of professional athletes. It is so powerful that it was even used extensively by UFC fighters, and those guys know a thing or two about managing pain. Yeah, and boxers, trust me, my body's in constant pain. Now get this, Clint explains how 𝗀𝗃𝗃 is the only compound on earth that optimizes your body's natural painkillers called endorphins at any age. I think it does well with depression. That's me personally. When taken, your body will fire back to relieving pain like you were in your prime in just days. And let me tell you, I was skeptical, but it works. I've tried virtually everything, and I have not felt this great in years. It's like all my daily aches and pains just faded away. My back, neck, joints, muscles all feel great and renewed. Best of all, 𝗀𝗃𝗃 does not make me feel the least bit groggy or drugged up. I feel great, alert, and focused for the day ahead. And the best news, 𝗀𝗃𝗃 has no documented side effects after 14 years of extensive testing. Hear me when I say this, 𝗀𝗃𝗃 is absolutely the future of pain relief. So if you are dealing with pain, make sure to click on the link below and check out Clint's amazing informative report on 100% American-made 𝗀𝗃𝗃. This innovation is changing lives by providing safe and powerful relief at 1/10 the cost of pain pills. Now here, this is the best part. When you click on the link below today, you can access the only 𝗀𝗃𝗃 product in the world for less than $1 a day. Go to trykono.com/Nino, folks. Get started on it. And I got to tell you, get off everything. If you're on opiates or you're on painkillers, it's best to get off that stuff before you get on something new, especially if it's natural. And you'll be amazed at the wonders it does. All right, Alpha, that's it. But are you dealing with pain?
I got me some pain, bro. So you need to hook me up.
Emotional pain. Alpha.
Emotional damage. Hell no, man. You don't jump that many walls and fight that many people and walk away not feeling some hurt, man.
Dude, I have PTSD on so many different things. It's like a rainbow of PTSD. I don't even know where I get it from now. I would have to see so many therapists to figure this out. Like I walk around like my nervous system has been jolted so many times with just trauma, and even when I was a kid to now, that I don't even know where it's coming from. It just hits me, dude. I'll just be seriously, I'm a fucking head case.
It used to be, 10 years ago, something hurt. I was like, I must have just went too hard in the gym. But now it's just like, oh, but I didn't work out today. So why is something hurting, man?
Dude, I am constant pain, physically, emotionally, everything, man. My neck now from boxing is starting to hurt, which is crazy, which it makes sense because all the punches, right? But my back is what, went out on me first, and then that's what stopped my boxing career. But now my neck. But the 𝗀𝗃𝗃's helping me, dude. I would say I've got a 30% decrease in pain physically, so I'm good with that. It's helping me function. Yeah, it's working for me, but I had to get off all the stuff, So anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand here, folks. Look, to me, everyone's being activated, and I've talked about this for a very long time. They're scared now. I don't think they thought he was going to get this far.
They had their plans for him, and we know some of the worst scenarios that we know they probably had plotted. But to go back to the question you had asked me during that video, how I think he's going to get in there. Here's the thing, man.
Be careful.
I know I'm going to navigate the waters here very carefully. You're good, man. You're good. I think before these things start flapping, is they know when we get to that important day in November that if it comes to that, the people are going to put the people are going to cast their marker for him,
Right.
and Mr. T wins 100% of the time. They know that. So for it to get to that, that's like them saying, okay, we give up, we throw our hands up.
They can't let it.
And they can't afford to.
But
If
dude, there's
Mr. T
already
takes off-
nuclear subs in Cuba. I mean, but do we understand the safety that's in place for that? So they can't win there either.
Well, and that's why I think it's going to look unconventional, because I think they're going to take us. I think we're going to get really close to that important day, and we're going to see them play their last final card, and I think that's what we're going to kind of see how things unfold. I think we're going to get really close to that day in November.
I think the most opportune time for them is Olympics. I just feel it, dude. I feel, they're gonna say either it's a boogeyman spreader, super spreader, or it's something bad happens, like back in I think it was the 70s or 60s when in the Olympics, something like that can happen. I mean, the climate has never been this hot, so I would think.
Look at it this way, man. And I forget what the former president of Iran, I forget what his name was, but the dude, we'll just go with the boo, man, right? Someone's gonna get mad at me. I love my people. Don't get mad. It's funny. Jokes are funny. But listen, the dude's helicopter crashes, right?
Yeah.
Well, because of that, Iran has to have special elections within 50 days. So that poised Iran to have their election before we have our election. And if you look at the temperature of everything going on in the world, Putin's been real reserved considering. Xi's been real reserved considering. Little dude in North Korea been real reserved. And these are all people Mr. Xi was shaking hands with during his presidency. So almost like he said, listen, they're going to be pushing your buttons. Just stand by. They're
hold the line.
And the Middle East played out in a way that a lot of people on both sides aren't really happy with the way Mr. T handled it. But the only thing that both sides can agree on was nothing popped off.
Right.
Ultimately, that's what you want. And so you see what's going on in that country out there that starts with an I, that's really little, right? That's taking on the little place that starts with a G. And temperatures are flying, right? But Iran's not making any moves on it, because if Iran gets involved, then by default, you're going to see Russia get behind Iran. You're going to see China get in with Russia and Iran. You got all these people subscribed to BRICS. Like shit gets complicated really fast. And the Iranian president was holding the line. Well, they couldn't get to Putin. They couldn't get to Xi. They couldn't get to the little dude in North Korea. So all of a sudden, this dude has a helicopter crash. And now we're going to have special elections. I would say look to the guy that takes over presidency there. And if it's somebody that's very anti the country that starts with an I, that can create the scenario for a WW3 to take place. And why is that important? Well, then we got fire all the way back to, Mr. 𝗧𝗰𝗶𝗹, the dude that likes to play the piano without using his arms, right?
Yeah.
And what did he say? Because we're at war with Russia, we have to postpone the election so everybody can vote. So if this pops off with the WW3 with all that stuff going on out there, don't put it past the current presidential administration to say, hey, look, we're going to suspend the elections until we can, until everybody's safe to vote. And I think, what we've seen come across the southern border, along with the WW3, along with what you were talking about with the Olympics, I think you see all those play out at around the same time. And that's a way to push the elections off. And then I don't know how it looks, man. I don't know how it looks at that.
I think maybe these world leaders are waiting to see what happens in October, November. I think maybe they're all like, okay, let's see. That's kind of my feeling.
The stock market's already betting on Mr. T winning, man. They're betting on him winning, because if he doesn't,
but they're not. What about how are they not factoring in what we're talking about? It's so common sense to me. I don't understand. I don't understand this. When people talk to me about this, I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? What makes you think this is?
Hell yeah, they know, man. They know. Here's what it is. They know that the jig is up, and that they know that, people like Jim Willie and all these other ones have already taught us that, hey, what you see is happening, it's all manufactured. Ain't
Yeah.
nothing natural
Yeah.
happening when it comes to the stock market.
Yeah.
They know that we know. So now they're at the point where, all right, we're not the dude at the top of the echelon here. So we're not going to make off like these dudes do if the whole thing collapses. So all they got left to do is like, hey, well, we are the middlemans in this.
Yeah. So in other words, the curtain's been pulled up and they're all exposed and their pants are down.
That is, man. And they're banking on the fact that what they don't know, see, they know the games being played on their side. What they don't know is the remedy to fix it on our side. So I think what they're banking on is that if Mr. T wins, that there's no way he can let this current monetary system that we operate in collapse. There's no way he can. And so they're betting on him that's just going to come in and save the day versus maybe we shift to a different monetary system.
Yeah, I agree. And have you noticed, though, the strategy in campaigning with Biden now versus 2020 is completely different. Like they are deploying all assets. And what I mean by that is they're trying to use whatever assets they have. They're going full speed ahead. They're like trying their best. He's going out and he's actually out of the basement. He's actually going to rallies. He's going to campaign, not rallies, but fundraisers. Okay. Hollywood fundraisers. You got people like, let's just say Taylor Swift right here. I'm going to show you Taylor Swift. This is insane. And I've always said, she's going to be activated. She's going to be activated. And you know that. Okay, so what she's saying is breaking billionaire singer Taylor Swift had her audience of 88,000 fans scream F the patriarchy at our concert. It appears that this is yet another, you know what, season promotion. Swift has voter registration booths at all her concerts, which allow her fans to register to vote. The props and employees heavily influence these people to choose to register as, guess what, Democrat. So here she is, and you know this. I mean, I don't even know what. Maybe my audience can look at this, but I don't even know what her following is. It's got to be over 100 million. It's got to be something so insane. You know, yeah, it's got to be beyond 50 million, 100 million. It could be a couple 100 million. I don't even know what her Instagram looks like. I don't ever go there, but so there she is. She's activated. These people are panicked. I don't think she even knows any better. I think she's just doing what she's told.
I mean, they're doing what they're told, but they knew what they were going to be told when they walked into it in the very beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
this goes all the way back to the freaking Super Bowl when, you know, you position that relationship with her and Travis Kelce. People want to say, is it theoretically possible that that's organic? Yeah, of course it could be. Anything is possible. But when you look at the big scheme of things, it's like, come on. You're like, come on, you know, people have even done dives into it where they were researching Kelce and like his friend circle, Taylor and her friend circle, and there was nothing that overlapped. So it was like people were kind of like saying, well, how would this even happen organically? Because none of the circles ever even crossed. So
what's the purpose? Just to get the middle America football fans on board?
It's the influence you have. She reaches an age demographic that have just turned voters. There's a lot of people that are going to be voters for the first time. And those kind of people, the vast majority of them, they're not watching CNN or Fox or podcasts. They're either just trying to pay for college or, you know, they're, you know, just kind of listening to what's trending. Like they're going to vote on what's trending. And what's the thing that's really powerful about Taylor Swift? She's a very trending topic.
Yes.
And unfortunately, there are people that will vote with the trend rather than what's best for them or the country.
I've heard someone say, you know, there is no such thing as good and evil. They said it's who has the power. There's no good, there's no bad. It's just whoever has the power. And a lot of these people believe in that. I don't, because I think evil ultimately destroys itself because it's just so bad. It ultimately... And we're watching that as well. I see it all the time with people that come after me, troll me, or people that go against Mr. T or the movement. They ultimately start eating themselves. They go after everybody, and then when there's nobody else to go after, they start eating themselves. You know, and it's really that's what evil does.
you know, good has to be strong, because the one big difference between, you know, good and evil is when evil loses, it doesn't walk away, it burns the whole house down with
Yeah.
it.
Yes. So we have to have endurance, and this has been very trying and very testing for everybody, because we can try to wake as many people up as we can, but look at this. There's a whole new crop of Swifties coming that don't know any better. They're brand new. I really believe, in my opinion, that in order to make that kind of decision on who's going to be the next leader, IQ test and and I think age. I think they should be 30 and up. I really believe that. 30 and up, dude. 25, 30 and up. I think, gosh, what is it? 18? Is it 18 years old when you can vote? I just say, for me, honestly, dude, I don't think you even know anything about life till you're 35, 40, man. Sorry. That's how I see it. I know a lot of people have gone through a lot of shit in their life, but I think 35, 40, 40, that's when you're really like seasoned, and you know that you start learning the game.
Well,
That's just my opinion.
well, you've invested in life too. So
Yeah.
whatever decisions you make, especially when it comes to voting, how's it going to impact what you worked your whole life for? Like you're more thorough when you make those decisions, man.
100%. Alpha, I want to say thank you for joining me, man. Dude, you're like one of my favorite podcasters out there, right, man? You really are kicking butt. Where can people find you?
Super easy. You guys can go to 𝗬𝗏warrior.tv, or just go on Rumble and search Alpha Warrior Show.
Let's do a show pretty soon about, how you were targeted. And I know we've done it before a long, long time ago, but I think it'd be good for my audience to get acquainted with you again on that, because it's scary. Dude, I have a friend. I have a couple friends who are doctors, who are Mr. T supporters. And when all that stuff happened around 2020, they kind of went the other direction. They didn't go the direction with all the others, where everyone else went. And they stood strong, but now they've been targeted and they're being taken down. And it's scary, dude. I'm watching it happen. They're getting cases thrown at them, and it's just, and they're going to get ready to do some hard times. So people are being singled out, and I don't, I'm not going to say their names, but they know who they are. It's scary, dude. It's scary. When they want to come for you, they do. And you are a prime example of that.
I'm also a prime example that you can survive it.
Yeah. Brother, I know. And my hat's off to you. So, Alpha, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Absolutely, man. It's been my honor.
God bless.